Hey, what is up you guys, and welcome to another video. In today's video I wanted to do the rapid fire book tag, so let's just jump straight into it. So ANovelYouth, who originally created this tag, in the description box down below. I wasn't actually tagged by anyone, but I just wanted to do it. So the first question is ebook or physical book, and I'm all the way a physical book girl. On occasion I've read ebooks, like I haven't had a choice because they haven't been published in paperback yet, and for example, The Foxwood Court I had to read in ebook form, which I really didn't enjoy it that much. It just makes me feel uncomfortable reading ebooks. The next question is paperback or hardback, and I am all the way, like, this is an obvious answer, hardback. Like, who doesn't love hardbacks? They're so beautiful. It's just that in the UK we have mass trade paperbacks, so they're not really kind of available over here, but if I have the choice between paperback and hardback, it will always be hardback. The next question is online or in-store book shopping. I personally I do love going into like Waterstones and doing book shopping, but I mostly do my book shopping online through Amazon because I'm a Prime customer, I guess, so I get them like next day delivery most of the time, and a lot of the time they're kind of like cheaper. And also my dad's credit card is linked with my Amazon account, so my dad usually ends up paying for all my books. Thanks, Dad, you're the best. The next question is trilogies or series, and because of the genres that I read, they usually release trilogies, but I'm always left with a feeling of like wanting more once a trilogy has finished. I don't know whether that's because it's a trilogy or just because I really enjoyed the series, but I kind of want to try and get more into series, maybe like the Game of Thrones series. I may currently reading the Harry Potter series, but that's entirely different. So the next question is heroes or villains, and I personally like heroes who aren't always good and pure. I think the thing that you can differentiate an antagonist and a protagonist is that they both believe that they're doing right, but typically the protagonist is morally in the right and an antagonist is morally in the wrong. But I really enjoy main characters, not necessarily heroes, but main characters that aren't always good. They're not always saving the world, they're not always being heroes. Like the book that I'm currently reading is Nevernight, and I won't spoil it for you guys, but the main character, you know, she gets up to some really interesting stuff. So I feel like characters like her, whose name I can't remember right now, which is great, I feel like characters like her are quite interesting. The next question is a book that you want everyone to read, and I know that this is like a vastly well-known and popular book, but it is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I just want everyone to appreciate the characters and the plot and the diversity of this book and Leigh Bardugo's writing. I just want everyone in the world to read and enjoy and appreciate Six of Crows. Next question is recommend an underrated book, and this is a book series and it's becoming more and more popular, but not that I was like the first person to ever read it, but I feel like I read it a while ago now, but since then it's becoming more popular, and that is The Foxwood Court by Nora Sakavic. The characters are all just so amazing. Exy is like such a cool sport, and I just think that it's really unique, and I've never read anything like it before. The next question is the last book that you finished, and I mentioned this in my August wrap-up, and it was The Winner's Kiss, so the final book in the Winner's Trilogy by Maria Rutkowski. The next question is the last book you bought, and technically I did buy this because I paid with my own money for the subscription box, so it is The Graces by Law Eve. I've heard that it's very witchy. I think it's UK YA, but it's witchy, it's kind of like The Craft. I'm really excited to start reading it. The next question is weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark, and I don't know if this is weird, it's just very typical for me, and you know, quite often I will use roses as bookmarks. The next question is used books, yes or no, and this might sound snobbish, but for me, absolutely not. I just don't enjoy reading secondhand or used books. I know that I should because it's, you know, probably cheaper. I just really don't like the sensation of reading a used book or even someone else's book. The next question is top 3 favorite genres, and I had to think about this, but I think it's high fantasy, paranormal, and occasionally contemporary. The next question is borrow or buy, and I would say buy always. I do not borrow people's books. Usually I am the person that people want to borrow books from, but I don't typically give my books out anymore because I never get them back, and that's one of my pet peeves. The next question is characters or plot, and I really like character-driven plots, if that makes sense. But if I have to pick between characters and plot, for sure characters. The plot could be the worst, but I will keep reading for the characters. If the characters are really dry and bland, I will not read it for the plot. The next question is long or short books, and I prefer long books. This question is long or short chapters, and I'm really indifferent to this question. Like, I don't really have a preference, I don't really care. It's not something that I particularly notice when I'm reading books. The next question is name the first 3 books you think of, and because it's in the background, Harry Potter, The Raven Boys, and The Foxhole Court. Next question is books that make you laugh or cry, and it's more common that I would cry over books than laugh. Like The Foxhole Court, I keep talking about this book, but The Foxhole Court really made me cry at some points. Our world or fictional worlds? This is a very simple question. I could go in depth as to why I like fictional worlds, but I do often have issues with fictional worlds because the writer is at liberty to create whatever norms they want, and that is sometimes quite irritating when it is like they decide to create heteronormative worlds. Yeah, I could go on for hours, but I do typically prefer fictional. It's just the way that some authors decide to represent or set the norms. Audiobooks, yes or no? No, absolutely not. I tried listening to the Throne of Glass series or like the Throne of Glass book on audiobook. I absolutely hated it so much. I just really don't enjoy it. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Always. I always judge a book by its cover. You can tell a lot of the time how much work goes into the cover of books. And I know that's saying never judge a book by its cover, but you can usually tell like the budget of the book, and you know, the cover is the first thing that you see about the book. It's supposed to be the first thing that makes you attracted to the book and want to pick it up and find more out about it. So, you know, I don't understand why a book wouldn't have a nice cover unless it hasn't got much, you know, funding behind it. So typically a lot of like best-selling books have really beautiful covers because they have a whole design team working on the book purposely for that reason, because people are drawn into books because of their covers. Book to movie or book to TV adaptations. So Pride and Prejudice, if you know me at all, Pride and Prejudice is my favorite movie. So probably book to movies just because of that one instance. Movie or TV show you preferred to its book, and I would have to say The Maze Runner, purely because I didn't even love these films too much. At the time when I read the books, I loved them so much, but I did enjoy the movies because obviously Dylan O'Brien, he's my bae. And the last question is series or standalone, and I typically read series because, as I said before, the type of genres that I read, fantasy and things like that, they're typically series or trilogies. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one, guys. Bye!